Please be seated. Blessed are the children, but 163 million of these children will wake up today not to go to school, not to play, but to work. 163 million reasons the church must climb the mountain with Jesus and listen again to the Beatitudes. Today is June 12. At the age of 12, Jesus was found in a temple, sitting among the teachers, listening and asking questions. 12 is the age at which God incarnate sat among scholars and displayed the gifts of the kingdom. Today, according to the International Labour Organization, approximately 163 million children, many of them 12 years old or younger, are trapped in child labour worldwide. Today is the 163rd day of this year. It refers the unfinished year and the unfinished work. The 163rd day of the year sits just past the midpoint, and it carries a powerful reminder. The Sustainable Development Goal 8.7 pledged to end child labour in all its form by 2025. Yet, we arrived at the 163rd day of this year, not in celebration, but in lament. Before we reflect on the Beatitudes, we must first look at the world in which we live and see the challenges and suffering that many people face. According to the International Labour Organization and UNICEF joint report in 2021, there are 160 million child labourers worldwide, 63 million girls and 97 million boys, accounting for nearly 1 in 10 of all children globally. Africa alone accounts for 72.1 million child labourers, the highest of any region. More disturbingly, the 2024 findings of the US Department of Labor's Bureau of International Labour Affairs reveals that child labour persists in the supply chains of 77 countries, encompassing goods like cocoa, tobacco, gold, cotton, and bricks. In India, 2023 report by Save the Children India found that 10.1 million children between the ages of 5 and 14 are engaged in labour, many in hazardous condition in Uttarakhand, Bihar, and Rajasthan. The Child Labour Amendment Act of 2016 remains inconsistently enforced. In conflict zones, the situation is more severe. UNICEF's 2024 State of the World's Children Report notes that in Sudan, Gaza, Myanmar, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, children as young as 7 are being recruited into armed force or forced into survival labor as families are displaced by war. These are not just statistics. These are children made in the image of God, whose spirit have been colonized by poverty, conflict, and adult greed. Think of the children whom you may know is affected by forced labor. Write their name behind your beds so that every time you see it, you can pray for them. In Matthew chapter 5 verse 1, when Jesus saw the crowd, he went up on the mountain. Who were in that crowd? In Matthew chapter 4 verse 22 to 25 describe them: the sick, the demon-possessed, the paralyzed, the poor, the broken. But today on this world day against child labor, we must become imaginative and look carefully at the edges of the crowd. Among the adults stood children, maybe unnoticed and hidden from view. The Beatitudes are not a ladder of spiritual rituals for disciplined adults to climb. They are, at their heart, a description of the kingdom that belongs to the vulnerable and a judgment upon every system that takes that kingdom from them. Let us hear 3 of them today through the eyes of the children who are not found in churches because they are forced to labor. The spirit that was stolen. A child's spirit is rich in spirit naturally. Children forgive quickly, laugh easily, trust freely, and welcome others without prejudice. They do not hold bitterness or judge people based on differences. They are rich in spirit because they live with joy, openness, forgiveness, and freedom. They do not measure people by status, wealth, or usefulness. In many ways, children naturally reflect the values of God's kingdom. That's why Jesus says, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Children who once loved freely and reached them fear. It takes children who forgive easily and fills them with burden. It takes children who are curious about the world and confines them to fields, factories, mines, workshops, and homes where they must work instead of learn and play. Child labor forces children to grow up before their time. A 10-year-old who carries family responsibilities, worries about survival, and has no opportunity to play becomes poor in spirit. Not because God intended it, but because society had failed them. Their spiritual richness is stolen by systems that value profit more than people. The church must respond to the reality. It is not enough to have ministry for children while ignoring the systems that harm them. Whenever a child's spirit is stolen, the image of God in that child is wounded. The joy that was extinguished. Joy is the natural language of childhood. It is not the shallow happiness that adults often seek through success or approval. It's a deep delight in life itself. Children find wonder in butterflies, bubbles, simple games, stories, and small activities. Their joy reflects something of God's own delight in creation. When God looked at the world and called it very good, God revealed a spirit of wonder and delight that children naturally share. Joy is not a luxury for children, it is a part of who they are. Child labor destroys this joy. It replaces wonder with worry, celebration with exertion, and hope with fear. A child who rises before dawn to work does not run toward the day with excitement, but faces it with weariness. They mourn for the education they never received, the games they never played, the friendship they never formed, and the childhood they never enjoyed. Jesus promises comfort to those who mourn. In Scripture, comfort is not passive sympathy but active passion. It means standing beside those who suffer and working to change the condition that caused their suffering. The gentleness that was crushed. Meekness is often misunderstood as weakness, but in the Bible it means strength that is guided by humility and self-control. Children naturally possess this quality. They are open, hopeful, gentle, and trusting. They approach the world with humility rather than pride, and with curiosity rather than aggression. This is why Jesus said, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. The gentleness of a child is not something to be overcome. It is something to be protected and nurtured. Child labor often destroys this gentleness. Some children become silent and fearful because they have learned that speaking brings punishment. Their silence is not humility, but the result of fear. The world that shows belong to the gentle is often controlled by those who exploit both the earth and its children. But still, God's promise remains that the meek will inherit the earth. The church has the responsibility to protect children whose gentleness has been crushed. It should provide care and healing for those who have experienced exploitation and trauma. It should teach families and communities that children are gifts from God, not tools for economic survival. It should support education and opportunity that allows children to grow, dream, and flourish. It should also speak prophetically against systems and practices that deny children their God-given dignity. Children need adults who will defend their rights and protect the future God intends for them. When Jesus sat down to teach the crowd, he introduced a vision of life that challenged the values of the world. The Beatitudes revealed a shalom that is different from the peace offered by the world. They reveal that what may be called cruciform shalom, a peace shaped by self-giving love, solidarity with those who suffer, and a commitment to justice. Many children today live without this peace, whether in war zones, refugee camps, factory farms, and homes where they are exploited. Countless children experience a world that has denied their safety, dignity, and hope. Their suffering reminds us that God's shalom has been broken. The church nurtures this peace when it stands alongside suffering children, speaks honestly about injustice, teaches what is right, and works patiently for restoration. Every child deserves the opportunity to learn, play, grow, and flourish. No child should be forced into labor when they should be receiving an education and enjoying the gifts of childhood. When churches become safe places for vulnerable children, support families in need, pray for children by name, and advocate for justice, they participate in God's work of healing the world. We are called to rise into places of suffering and carry cruciform shalom, not merely as a message we proclaim, but as a way of life we embody. Let the children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. May we never be the ones who hinder them. Amen.